Good afternoon, viewers and listeners of Concerned Citizens Media. Thank you for coming back. I was a little bit away from you because, American busy life. So I am back and I'm happy to be here and to share some news with you. So some of the news may be a little bit delayed, but if you didn't hear, so it's still new for you. So I appreciate you for coming back. Also appreciate your participation and especially commenting on my videos, sharing my videos, liking, and other activities you are doing. So thank you for your input again. Welcome back. Let's get started. Uh, Here are the news and the Concerned Citizens Media comment for July 10, 2021. First, the breaking news. The Ethiopian Election Board announced, obviously known or expected results today. So basically, Prosperity Party is the one controlling the parliament, the agenda, everything about Ethiopia for the next 5 years. That is their dream. So, from 435 parliament seats, Prosperity Party, led by Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed, won 410 seats. From 435, 410 seats belong to Prosperity Party. So the rest will be divided by different opposition group. That's Izema, Abiy, and other, opposition parties. So the majority, 410, is won by Prosperity Party. Abiy Ahmed agenda will continue. So the failure, the catastrophe will continue. Nothing will be changed. So they control the police, they control the federal court, they control the financial institutions, they control everything. PP will control everything for the next 5 years. That is their dream, and it will not bring any solution for Ethiopia and the Ethiopians, but some are celebrating Prosperity Party wins. So we will see. That will be remain to be seen. What's going to happen, how successful they are, and how they're going to fix all this catastrophe. And we will see. That remain to be. But the breaking news is 410 parliamentary seats belongs to Abiy Ahmed. And so the other 25, which is meaningless, doesn't bring any agenda, doesn't affect Abiy Ahmed's agenda, but they are sharing for 25 seats for the opposition parties. So Izema, led by Dr. Branu Naga, will get, I think, 5. Abiy will get maybe 4. And the others will be shared by other small groups from southern parts and others. So that is the breaking news. The other one is the other breaking news also. Mohamed Dekisiso. This is a student from Jimma University. Okay, let me read. Multiple media sources are reporting the release of Mohamed Dekisiso from Ethiopia's undisclosed prison cell. Mohamed Dekisiso was arrested for calling for the release of all Oromo political prisoners such as Johar Mohammed, Baqqala Garba, and others on his graduation ceremony at Jimma University about 6 months ago. Ethiopia local regional and national officials, including Oromia Region's President Shimalis Abdisa, angered by this unexpected act that exposed their illegal imprisonment of uh, these Oromo political prisoners to national and international media. Then snatched Mohamed Dekisiso and arrested him in undisclosed prison cells. The Ethiopian authorities also denied his release on the judge's approved bond. His families were also threatened and punished just for being the parents or relatives of Mohamed Dekisiso, just for being his parents or relatives of Mohamed Dekisiso. Congratulations to Mohamed for speaking up courageously for your people and be a free man at least for now. For total freedom and justice in Oromia and Ethiopia in general, more must be done to remove the system. Unless that happens, imprisonment, torture, killings, degrading, disrespects, property looting, property burning, and other atrocities against our people will continue. So as long as the system is still there, these temporarily release are useless. The Abiy Ahmed administration uh, adopted rearresting those released by the court. So it's a gangster system. They don't respect the law and order. So unless you remove the system, you will not feel safe. You will not feel respected. You will not feel secured. So Ethiopians, Oromos must work together, must work hard to remove the system. I know they won the election, but that's meaningless unless, you know, uh, so the Ethiopians must unite their forces to remove the system. The system is not working. The system is leading the country into catastrophe, into disintegration, into ethnic tension, into many command posts. So peace, security, safety, and the well-being of Ethiopians will not be protected under Prosperity Party. So they won the election, but that election will not bring peace and stability in that country. So we have to find another way for peace and security for Ethiopia. So as I reported, Colonel Gammachu Ayana, Abdi Ragasa, and others rearrested by Abiy Ahmed undercover operatives because I said the system is there. If the system is there, rearresting, torture, killing, all this will be repeated again and again. So we have to work on that one, remove the system, then all Ethiopians will be secured in that country. Okay, conflict zone. Doctors Without Borders suspended its activities in Abiy, Adi, Adigrat, and Aksum due to safety reasons. At the meantime, humanitarian aid intended for the Tigray people blocked by Amara militia and Fano or Amara youth. 9 trucks loaded with humanitarian aid from World Food Program forced to park for 3 days at Filkit Gergara town, northern Wollo, Amara region, and then ordered to go back where they came from. This is another indication of the Amara's animosity against the Tigrayan people who are desperately waiting for those life-saving aids. Using the humanitarian aid as a weapon is a grave violation of international law, and it is also a war crime. The United States, European Union, and others have been calling on the Ethiopian government for unhindered access for relief aids in the Tigray region. Ethiopia is also reversing its decision on the direct humanitarian cargo flight to Tigray region. Now, Ethiopia is requiring all flights to land at Addis Ababa Bole International Airport, the capital city of Ethiopia, and then fly to Tigray region. Fana Broadcasting Corporation, this is a government-funded media, is reporting 48 trucks loaded with food and non-food items are heading to the Tigray region. So this is Fano is a government propaganda media. So after this blockade is reported, now it's reporting that 40 truckload of humanitarian aid is heading to the Tigray. But do you trust? No, not trustworthy. The media and the prosperity officials, they are not trustworthy. Whatever they said, I don't believe them. From past lies, misleading information. So the media and the prosperity party, they are the same. They are misleading Ethiopians. They are misleading the global community. So I don't believe these 40 trucks heading to Tigray region. This is for propaganda purpose. Here we go. The United Nations Security Council directed the controversial Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam agenda to African Union. The three countries, namely Ethiopia, Egypt, and Sudan, are encouraged by the Security Council members to end their disputes about the project with the help of African Union mediators. The United States, Kenya, India, and Russia are some of the countries agreed with this move. Ethiopia celebrated the news because the United Nations Security Council decision goes with Ethiopia's stand. Ethiopia repeatedly rejected Egypt and the Sudanese attempts to widen the scope of mediators beyond African Union. It remains to be seen how African mediation will settle these serious matters by satisfying Egypt and Sudanese demand and ending their warning and their visible threatening activities in the region. At the meantime, pro-Abiy Ahmed Ethiopians showed up in front of the UN Assembly office in New York to denounce Egypt and Sudan for taking the dam dispute to the United Nations Security Council. So that is the situation now. Egypt and Sudan and the Arab League, they went to the Security Council to decide something, but the Security Council said, you need to go back to African Union and resolve your disputes over there. So the celebration on Ethiopian side is huge. The pride is huge, but Egypt and the Sudan is still angry, still treating Ethiopia with, so that's the situation, and we'll see. The other one, the United States also still calling on the Ethiopian government, repeatedly calling on this issue. U.S. official urged parties in Ethiopia to commit to ceasefire. The United States Secretary of State, Antony Blinken, has urged all parties to the conflict in Ethiopia Tigray region to commit to immediate, indefinite, and a negotiated ceasefire. Blinken, his spokesperson said, spoke with the Ethiopian Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed on Wednesday. I say it's a little bit delayed. The secretary condemned the destruction of a bridge into Tigray and other impediment to access need, a statement issued by spokesperson Ned Price. The United States official further urged Abiy to commit to the steps outlined in the United Nations Security Council on July 2, including the complete withdrawal of Eritrean and Amhara forces from Tigray, full, safe, and unhindered humanitarian access to population in need, the establishment of transparent process to hold accountable to those responsible for human rights abuses and atrocities, and affirmation that neither the internal or external borders of Ethiopia will be changed by force or in contravention of the constitution. In addition, the Secretary emphasized the urgency of holding an inclusive political dialogue to begin the difficult work of forging a lasting resolution to the country's ethnic and political division. Last week, Ethiopia Federal Force declared a unilateral ceasefire and pulled out of Mekelle, the capital city of Tigray province, as well as dozens of other towns. The United Nations called for ceasefire to be respected to all humanitarian aid reach the civilian population, as millions in Tigray are threatened with famine or face critical and life-threatening conditions. As I reported, this call is still ignored. Aid trucks are blocked by Amharas, and so the situation is still resolved. Plus, the Amharas still holding the Tigray region areas like Walqait, Dagade, all this area. You know, they captured at the excuse of law and order operation. It was law and order operation. It was not about grabbing or occupying territorial, territories. But they say we got it. It was historically ours. We don't leave it. That's they are claiming. But the American said, no, you cannot do that. Amharas, Eritreans must get out of Tigray. And Ethiopia must have dialogue with all opposition parties, release all political prisoners, have a dialogue. And but so far, Abiy is ignoring them and still keeping political prisoners in jail. No negotiation. They got 410, parliament seats. Why they care about listening to others now? They are the majority. They control the government, so we will see. But that will not resolve the country's issue. Listen to the Americans and others. Listen. Release all political prisoners and have dialogue with all Ethiopians, all stakeholders in that country. Talk about which way is better. How can we ease the tension, ethnic tension, the bloodshed, the war going on in Oromia now. Huge war is going on, but unreported between, Oromo Liberation Front and forces from Eritrea, Amhara militia, and the federal force. So it's a huge war, but unreported and ignored by international media and global community. But slowly they are coming to some big, some small areas. They are coming to small towns slowly. If it's not resolved, but they will come to capital city. That's obvious. But before all this bloodshed can be stopped through dialogue, through discussion, and through inclusive political system. Okay, this is good for students loan President Joe Biden is canceling yet again another student's loan debt. This time, the students attended schools such as Westwood College, Marinello School of Beauty, and court reporting institutes are freed from their students' loan. All three schools, which are now closed, made widespread substantial misrepresentations to students. The Education Department says eligible borrowers will receive 100% loan discharges, totaling about 55.6 million. Today's announcement continues the U.S. Department of Education's commitment to standing up for students whose colleges took advantage of them. Education Secretary Miguel Cardona says in a statement. The call for the cancellation of all students' debt is increasing through petition signatures and advocacy. Canceling student debt and any debt for that matter makes sense at this catastrophic time in the nation when most Americans are dependent on the government's handout and when the COVID-19 impacts are still in the horizon. Go for it, President Joe Biden. So Americans are struggling, due to the impact of this devastating COVID-19 virus. And even though, things are opening up, still getting a job is hard. So it makes sense canceling all student debt. It will be very beneficial to the Americans to start, own a house, getting married, all, so the American dreams, have your own car, all this. So release all students from this burden. The petition is still going on. Change.org, cancel student debt. You can check it out and sign the petition. Democrats are working on it, especially Senator Elizabeth Warren. She's an advocate for this, which is good. Students should be relieved of this burden. Getting unemployment is hard. The economy is still struggling. So Joe Biden, go for it. Cancel student debt. Okay. This is the last one from reading. Just also a little bit delayed. Tragedy from Haiti. Tragedy from the Republic of Haiti. Jovenel Moise, I think, president of the Republic of Haiti, was assassinated at his house in the capital Port-au-Prince early on Wednesday morning. The police reported killing 4 suspects in the murder in the gun battle, detained 2 Americans and a dozen others, and freed 3 officers being held hostage by the attackers. The 2 Americans allegedly linked to Wednesday's attack identified as James Sludge and Joseph Vincent, both naturalized citizens from Haiti. The president's wife, Martine Moise, critically wounded in this attack and getting treatment in Miami, Florida. The Haiti officials didn't release the details why the president and his family were targeted. Who are these attackers? and their motives for the assassination. The Republic of Haiti is already dealing with gun violence, inflation, food and fuel shortage, and political instability. About 60% of Haitian workers earn less than $2 a day. It's horrible. Less than $2 a day. 60% of Haitians. The country still tries to recover from 2010 devastating earthquake. So partial credit, Associated Press and the CNN. So after I recorded this, something changed. Now the authorities are arrested some Colombians. I don't know what they're doing. Colombians on this assassination attempt, retired militaries from South Colombians and these two Americans. I have a video at the end for this one. Okay, that's the reading part. Thank you again for listening to me. Let's share the videos and conclude today's presentation. So the first one is about the dam. I think 2 videos or some videos I have about the dam. Then about the assassination of Haitian president. Let's listen. There we go. Oh, no. Come on, man.
Outside UN headquarters, Ethiopian protesters gathered. They didn't want this meeting to take place. To demonstrate that point, unlike Egypt and Sudan, Ethiopia didn't send its foreign minister to this meeting. Instead, it was represented by its water and irrigation minister.
The African Union is seized of the matter and is ably facilitating our negotiation. That is why it is regrettable that our sisterly countries opted to bring the matter to the Security Council.
It was Sudan and Egypt that had demanded this meeting, saying the fact that Ethiopia is again filling the dam amounts to a threat to international peace and security.
It is not an overstatement to affirm that for Egypt, the GERD is an existential threat. This is a situation that Egypt cannot and will not tolerate.
Later, I pressed the foreign minister on what action his country was prepared to take. So are there circumstances where you would consider military action?
The matter of Egypt's protection of the rights of its citizen is inherent and is a matter that necessarily any responsible government would apply itself to.
Clearly, growing tension between 3 countries, 2 of them with a population of more than 100 million people and another with a population of more than 40 million, is very concerning. But the Security Council is unlikely to take any direct action. Diplomats tell me they hope this meeting will force the 3 countries back into African Union-led mediation. James Bays, Al Jazeera, at the United Nations.
Did you know that diamonds with the exact same 4 C's can actually look very different? There's a range in price and beauty when it comes to diamonds with the exact same 4 C's. This isn't something other jewelers like to talk about, but as your friend in the jewelry business, we want you to have all the info you need to make the most informed decision when choosing a diamond. Take a look at these diamonds.
Every July, all the gates of the Ruseris Dam in Sudan's Blue Nile state are opened to allow the river's water to pass through. But this year, engineers are having to change their plans because of a new dam 100 kilometers upstream in neighboring Ethiopia.
In recent years, the level of the reservoir of the Roseris Dam used to be lower because we knew how much water was flowing in. This year, we've held back more water than usual and changed the release pattern so we can continue generating electricity.
The dam produces nearly 15% of Sudan's hydroelectric power, about 280 megawatts. In all, hydropower accounts for half of Sudan's electricity. But Ethiopia's Renaissance Dam has raised concerns about the reserves operations, which, in addition to generating electricity, also provides water for some of Sudan's largest agricultural schemes. Ethiopia's dam is a point of contention with downstream countries Sudan and Egypt.
لذلك مطالبة السودان باتفاق. Without a legally binding information sharing agreement on the filling and operation of the Renaissance Dam, we can't operate Resir's Dam. Sudan supports Ethiopia's building of the dam, but with an agreement that it won't affect the Resir's Dam and its operations.
Ethiopia says the Renaissance Dam will generate electricity for more than half its population and lift millions out of poverty. But Egypt is worried it could result in less water flowing downstream. Sudan says 20 million people could be affected by the second phase of filling. The reservoir of the Ethiopian Renaissance Dam is supposed to hold 13.5 billion cubic meters of water after the second filling. That's nearly twice the capacity of the Reserves Dam. That's the second largest dam in Sudan. But with no agreement between Sudan, Ethiopia, and Egypt on how the dam is to operate, there are concerns about how it will affect not only on Reserves but other Sudanese dams along the Nile. Egypt and Sudan say the lack of a deal on the dam will affect the region's security. While Sudan has ruled out going to war over the dam, joint military drills between it and its northern neighbor has caused Ethiopia to increase its security around its dam on the Blue Nile. Sudan's government also says it's open to a short-term agreement on filling the dam under certain conditions. Some analysts say that may be necessary to ensure Sudan can continue generating hydroelectricity.
Sudan is going to lose huge amount of resources by reducing hydropower, so this is why we can see huge power outage or cut out of the power. So the main effect on the hydropower will be during this period for the 13 billion cubic meter.
Sudan and Egypt have turned to the UN Security Council to provide solutions as Ethiopia starts its second filling. Ethiopia has rejected the move, saying the African Union should resume handling the talks. Hiba Morgan, Al Jazeera, Reserves, Blue Nile.
Hey, it's 2021. Living with hair loss? That's a choice. But Hair Club has solutions for all hair types in as little as one visit. All you have to do is click below for your in-person or virtual free.
FBI and DHS officials will be making their way to Haiti as soon as possible in aid of the ongoing chaos on the heels of the assassination of Haiti's president, the White House announced today. This after a total of 17 men, including 2 U.S. nationals, were arrested in connection with the murder. ABC's Marcus Moore is in the capital city of Port-au-Prince for us.
Tonight, the FBI and the Department of Homeland Security dispatching senior officials to Haiti to help investigate the brutal assassination of President Jovenel Moïse. The country in utter turmoil. The Haitian government requesting American troops to help keep the peace. The government officials here declaring a state of siege. They urge people to stay in their homes and to remain calm. And that is what we have seen here. This is a moment of calm, but the concern is that this city, Port-au-Prince, and this country could descend into chaos at any moment. Tonight, many questions remain about who killed the president and why. Nearly 24 people are now under arrest. 2 seen here dragged by police through an angry crowd. Officials parading suspects in front of the cameras along with a large cache of weapons. 2 are American citizens, James Solage and Joseph Vincent. A Haitian judge leading the investigation says the Americans claim they were only acting as translators for the assassins. I asked acting Prime Minister Claude Joseph about their role. They have said that they were only merely translators in the midst of this operation, and that they were set up. Is that true?
Only the investigation can tell.
President Moïse's murder has left a power vacuum here in Haiti, and a lot of people in the international community in the United States are watching and wondering who's in charge here now. Is there a power struggle going on right now? Who is in charge here in Haiti?
I don't know if there is a power struggle. I'm not paying attention to whether or not there's a power struggle. I'm paying attention to giving justice to President Jovenel Moïse, his family, his wife, son and daughters. The people are in shock. The people myself, I'm in shock, because no one would ever think that President Jovenel Moïse will be killed, tortured in his own house.
19 suspects are from Colombia. The head of the Colombian police says they traveled into Haiti in 2 teams through the Dominican Republic. He said they were recruited, but wouldn't say who recruited them and why.
They wanted him. They wanted to remove him. They wanted him to step down. And we can understand what is going on. But let the investigation tells the truth.
Do you believe there's any possibility that this crime that was committed here in Haiti was an inside job?
Listen, those foreign mercenaries couldn't just come on their own and kill the president.
How can you be sure that you have the right people?
We do have the right people, and they are under investigation. They're talking now. So we are going to give justice.
Byron, there was a moment in that interview that we did with the acting prime minister where he became emotional. There were tears in his eyes when he was talking about the death of President Moïse, and it really gives you a sense of how much pain there is for so many people here in Haiti. And he also acknowledged the difficult road ahead, but he urged people to see the potential in this country. But you cannot deny the fact, Byron, that there is what could be a power grab here. There's a power vacuum with the death of the president. And the question is, who will lead this country into the future? It remains to be answered. But what the prime minister, the acting prime minister, said today is that he's not interested in power struggles. He's interested in getting this country moving and supporting its people.
Hi everyone, George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel, and don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.
I think that will be the end. Let's see. Okay, that's the update on the crisis in Haiti. It is a tragedy, and as you heard, so many involved from Colombia and some Americans. So the investigation is still going on, as you heard from the reporter, and it's a troubling situation for the country already struggling with inflation, gun violence, gangs, insecurity, other insecurity issues. So I hope it will stabilize and find who did this and why. So we follow it. If we find something, we'll report to you. So that's all I have for today, and thank you for taking your time and listening to Concerned Citizens Media. Please share, subscribe, like, and continue your sharing your input, constructive comments on my video. I always appreciate that. And if you have something credible to report, you can send me, at my email, birke663@gmail.com. If you have newsworthy item or something, to report. So I appreciate it. And I will be back with other news and comments, any updates. So enjoy your day, and as I reported, it's a good news for Mohamed Dekisiso for being released from this very dangerous prison system we have in Ethiopia, and a political system that cannot tolerate dissidents, and the political system that does not respect law in order in that country. There is no justice. Justice denied for all Oromo political prisoners. They just keep them there. No hearing, no ending date. They got so many witnesses to delay this, the justice. They have, as I said before, 143 plus witnesses on the case of Johar Mohammed and others. That's a system of delaying, but as I suggested before, they could be released after, the election is announced. They won. That's what they want. Maybe they could release them, because nothing to fear now, because the Prosperity Party won 410 seats. They might be emboldened about this win, and they may say, hey, we have, the mandate to govern Ethiopia. They may claim Ethiopia won. Abiy Ahmed, he got the mandate, public mandate, even if, less than 50% of the country participated in this election. So the best way is to listen to the United States, to listen to the European Union, have a dialogue, end ethnic tension, end command post in Ethiopia, end the war in Ethiopia. That's the best way. But they are not listening, and that is the situation for now. Thank you again for coming back. I will be back with other news and comment. So long, and be safe, everyone.